let's put that summer smile on your face right now because it's time for the thrift store rundown. Pretty Hollywood home on a budget. Hello? Are you still not smiling yet? Oh well, we're gonna fix that right here, right now. Control room, start show. 3, 2, 1. Well guys, we all know what today is. We all know what happened 20 years ago today, and we haven't forgotten about it. How could we? I was just 2 years old, sitting in a house on the other side of this apartment, feeling kind of indifferent in watching the crap unfold in New York, the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. I was still in the crib at the time, unbelievably. And yeah, I was kind of indifferent. How was I supposed to feel at 2 years old? And while I wasn't able to fully process or appreciate the magnitude of these atrocities, the worst of humankind ever, I refused to remain sulkingly solemn on a day where undoubtedly and rightfully that will be the defining mood of everybody you know that had friends on 9/11 or family on 9/11 that did not live to see the light of another day. And my heart goes out to them and to you. But really, that should not be the defining mood of the day, especially when you take into consideration the slow resurgence of small-town neighborhood ideals. Let me summarize it like this. While our troops overseas went to manhunt the perpetrators responsible for these cowardly acts and make sure they were put out of business forever, on the home front, here, we started treating each other, friends, strangers, and family alike, all like neighbors. We were doing nice things for each other, whether it was walking their dogs, mowing their lawns, delivering the newspaper or the mail, or just stopping by for a coffee and a chat, or taking walks around the neighborhood, or a small park safe and secure, catching up with each other on the events of the day. Simply put, this country, vast and way too expansive for human eyes, actually shrunk in our hearts and became a small town again. People treated each other with kindness. People helped each other out. Communities were helping communities. Such is the embodiment of this show and this book, which I designated for good reason as the 20th anniversary of 9/11 special right here on TSR. You'll see that reason going forward. This is ABC's and Hyperon Publishing's official companion book to one of my favorite childhood shows, Extreme Makeover Home Edition, the most successful spin-off of ABC's Extreme Makeover franchise, and most certainly, arguably, the one with the most honest, heartfelt, and valiant of intentions. Completely genuine. Hosted by Trading Space's very own Ty Pennington, and funded by the marvelous design team right here featured on the cover. This was a book that I have longed for ever since I gazed upon it and tore into it at the Patterson Free Public Library. I only ever read it one time up until this point, and now I have it in my home where it's permanently, indefinitely kept out. For $5.72 off of Amazon, mind you. This is the price breakdown. I have to say before I tear into this was not an easy book to review. I did several takes and messed up every single one of them, and I had a different set of highlights that I wanted to feature in my first review, and they were basically all the behind-the-scenes features here. The mail selection, shooting the episodes, 1 week to redo an entire house from top to bottom. Working with the families and producer of Ancrum, and to end it all, Tom Foreman's Forum. He reveals the stuff we didn't see on the show. He also contributes the introduction, What Were We Thinking? He's the executive producer, by the way, of Extreme Makeover Home Edition. I wanted to highlight those features, but in the end, the book won, and I had to scrape all of the takes. Not this time. If there's anything I learned from the Extreme Makeover Home Edition team watching them throughout the years, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching them, you never stop until the job is done. So, for good or for bad, this is going to be my review. And I have a different set of highlights this time around. Two of which are attributed to 9/11. They're connected to it. And I'll show you those two as we go forward. First up, the Walslam family. Trent and Donna Walslam lived in a mobile home for 10 years before buying their first home in Palmdale, California. A fixer-upper they purchased as a Christmas present for their three sons in December 2002. The house needed a lot of love and attention, and the Walsons have substantial renovation plans for it. But the family hadn't finished it settling in when Trent, a sergeant of the California National Guard, right here, was called up to serve in Iraq on Valentine's Day 2003. On the day that the Extreme Makeover home edition team began the shoot and ended the shoot, it was also the week that they captured Saddam Hussein in Iraq. American troops, specifically Trent Walslam's outfit, captured one of two of the dastardly masterminds behind the 9/11 attacks. So says executive producer Tom Foreman, making the entire shoot and the entire renovation all the more poignant, special, patriotic, and awesome in every sense of the word to witness. Now, I've got to be some form of lighthearted around here, because otherwise, if we feel just completely solemn, there will be no reason to smile today, and that's not the American way to live. So, I'm going to highlight host bio Ty Pennington. Each week on EMHE, dozens of fans, mothers, grandmothers, toddlers, and teens, the latter two toddlers and teens of the female kind, not surprisingly, stand by desperately hoping to catch a glimpse of Ty Pennington, the sometimes off-the-wall hunk of a carpenter and host, who is a bachelor no more. The former Trading Spaces carpenter is now betrothed to the fair Kelly Merrill, leaving many fans of Ty betrayed, bewildered, and befuddled, as if they thought they were gonna marry him. Well, Ty, good on for you. And rest assured, while all your fans are not that glad that you waited for the one, rest assured they secretly are. And continuing with our love story elements, we move on to one of the designers on the design team, Constance Ramos. She says that EMHC is much more than just building homes. It's also about building relationships with the clients that they select for Extreme Makeovers. They become friends and really become family. And in the case of Constance Ramos, much more than just a friend. You can attribute that to J.J. Carroll, the man who nominated the Walswick family for a makeover. Like a table saw to a piece of metal, sparks flew between Constance and JJ, and they were married in May of 2005. It's only fitting that Constance found love on a show that's really about building relationships with all the families that they helped out throughout the years. The Walswick family can be found on page 70 here, and that was where sparks really flied. Although J.J. Carroll didn't really get an extreme makeover, he and Constance certainly did that one in their love lives. Each of the stories go a little something like this. First, the team greets the families outside of their homes. The house, that's the house tour, plus the beginning of the planning for the renovation. The actual renovation itself, and the renovation begins now. And welcome to your new home. The jubilant return of the families to a gathering throng of supporting neighbors, all clapping and cheering, providing a festive atmosphere to a family that so eagerly awaits their brand new home. Upon Ty's demand to, say with me now, move that bus! That's the format of all the stories, makeover stories in here. However, this is the main feature of the review. Friends Helping Friends, their first and only live edition of VMAT in New York City, helping out firefighters Pete Wasserman and Jolie Zelli, both heroic in their efforts in the aftermath of 9/11. For 2 months, 18 hours a day, going through debris, battling smoke and dust and other life-threatening elements in the wake of the attacks in the Twin Towers to help out their friends and family. many of whom they didn't even know on 9/11, but became connected with regardless. For that expression of love and support for their very own fellow New Yorkers, they were selected for an extreme makeover. Granted, it was a small extreme makeover. It was their own apartment house in New York City, but one of no less magnitude than if it was a big mansion in upstate New York. This 4-page spread has plenty of photos and captions detailing the long, arduous, and rewarding effort on behalf of both Joe and Pete, concluding with a simple expression of gratitude. Thanks to Joe and Pete, and especially to the brave police and firefighters who didn't make it. God bless. To Joe and Pete, from one Pete to another, thanks indeed. And thanks as well to Trent. Sergeant, whoever you are, whatever your ranking is, we salute you. This is my favorite behind-the-scenes feature, the shoot. How long it takes to produce, shoot, and edit a week's worth of material. 250 hours of tape for just one standard episode of EMHE. This, by the way, covers all of Season 1 and a good chunk of Season 2, by the way. This is coming soon to a neighborhood near you. This is the bus that was rolling in amidst a parade of waving American flags with the backdrop of the Statue of Liberty. So where is that bus going next? Well, after a few years and over 207 episodes on ABC, it went to HGTV with host Modern Family's Jesse Tyler Ferguson leading the design team. And now, wherever that bus goes, we don't know. I do hope that HGTV does not do away with this reboot, because when I think about it, these guys are basically essential workers. This retails for $17.95 in the US and $23.95 in Canada. And it's not just another home improvement show. It's a show about improving and changing lives, one house at a time. This book tears down the walls between viewers and the show in this official tie-in to America's most heartwarming reality television program. You'll get exclusive info on the fabulous design team members, including Ty, plus Paul DeMail, Paige Hemis, Michael Maloney, Constance Ramos, Preston Shop, Tracy Hudson, Eduardo Zoll, and Ed Sanders. My favorites were Paul and Ed, and Constance and Paige. The latter two, the most smoking of the entire design team. I have to be frank with you on that. Revisit your favorite families and see before and after extreme transformations of their homes. Learn what it takes for the designers to totally rebuild a house inside and out in just 7 days. See beautiful makeovers and interior designs that will inspire you to embark on a home renovation of your own. Plenty of inspiration, but no thousands of practical tips for small home renovations, small tips from any members of the design team, and that's kind of a bummer. Get the fun facts about the making of each episode in those behind-the-scenes features I told you about, including which episode marked the first time Ty used the infamous bullhorn. It's not the one I used at the beginning of this review, but that was one simply held by an assistant. One of the producers actually grabbed that microphone and handed it to Ty because he figured that his voice wouldn't be loud enough to wake up the family. And which family was the first ever to receive a call to listen to their newly remodeled home. Other firsts include the first episode of Ty shouting, "Move that bus!" and the introduction of Paige Hemis as one of the new design team members. You'll also learn lots more behind-the-scenes secrets that never made it to TV from executive producer Tom Foreman. Extreme Makeover Home Edition. It's not only about houses, but also the extraordinary families within them. For all of its good intentions, no reality show is without its critics. And not surprisingly, Extreme Makeover Home Edition was the subject of plenty of criticism, including some hardcore cynics likening it to a pity party enveloped in a competition, or vice versa, a competition enveloped in a pity party, because of the many tear-jerking stories that would make for better material, better makeovers, and ultimately higher ratings. Well, I say if you look beyond that kind of criticism, and even if you look beyond the 2 back-to-back Outstanding Reality Program Emmys, 2005, 2006, I'd say you'll find honorable intentions here, and the entire embodiment of this book. The one message that ties in all the fun, the emotion, the enthusiasm, and the fun and patriotism of everything here. And that is communities helping communities out. When you look at it, from my perspective, a family, whether it's 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, 7, 8, 9, 10, how many people are there in your family, blood related or not? Adoption, foster care. A family is basically a small community within itself, just looking to contribute something lively to a larger community. It's just one big family table. Everybody being invited to pitch in, help out, share a story, share a laugh, share plenty of food. Plenty of volunteers contribute lots of home-baked goodies and treats, and receive blue t-shirts with the logo emblazoned as a result. It's just one big family coming together to help each other out, which is exactly the message of this book and the series. Oh, that's not a wrap just yet. I just want to show you the episode list here. Again, all of Season 1 and a good chunk of Season 2. Actually, all of Season 2, I should say. This does not cover every single episode of Season 2, but there's a complete episode listing in the episode list. It's not a wrap just yet. It's a book that I had my eye on for many years, and even though there are no actual design tips from any of the design team members, it is still a book that I now welcome into my home with open arms and an open heart, and a sense of nostalgia. Again, this was one of my favorite childhood shows that I watched all the time, mainly on TV Land during reruns. So with that in mind, I say, welcome home, Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Welcome home. Usually at the end of the show, that would be met with triumphant, vigorous applause. But around here, I have to stick by my rules and give this the maximum amount of applause, equaling 5 claps. And trust me when I say it deserves every single clap. After all, this should serve as a friendly, heartwarming reminder that when they move that bus, we should all move our butts in getting the job done and helping out a friend in need. May you have a very solemn, safe, and yet still pretty good anniversary today. And please try and smile here and there. That's the American thing to do. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Thank you so much for tuning in.